globalists fucked us all economically. They fucking offshored all our jobs so we couldn't just work one job and be middle class. They made everybody poor, but they brought in some other flavors. They brought in the South American flavor of the big booties from Brazil, and then it just made its way into our culture. Welcome to episode 274 of Outrage Factory. This time, it's just this guy. No Jeff. Jeff is on vacation, enjoying his lovely family for the long weekend. I believe it's called BC Day here in BC. Alberta started calling it Civic Holiday. It used to be called Alberta Heritage Day, but they changed it to Civic Holiday. Interesting how they did that. I'm not going to pick at that scab and unleash all those maggoty worms or unlock Pandora's box on that. Yeah, if you're noticing, I don't know how much of the behind the scenes stuff you guys want, but I have to talk about it just because I feel like when I'm watching a podcast and shit changes, I'm like, why don't they just mention what happened? I want to know. Otherwise, you're like secretly wondering the whole time. Or not secretly, I guess just on your own. But if you're just listening to this, just skip like 15 seconds or so because I'm just talking about the way things look. Because usually I have a beautiful cartoon leaf with Outrage Factory in neon type letters behind me. But today I have this painting of a cat and a tree and an old crib we took apart and some blankets because I just literally do this in the corner of my bedroom. Which usually you can't tell, and it still looks very studious because I have a ring light and a fake background that works on Zoom. But the reason that's not here this time is because I'm not recording on Zoom. I'm just recording in, what's this program called? Filmora. Yeah, it's called Wondershare Filmora. That's the program I use to edit the podcast. And then when I'm not doing it over Zoom, I just record through my webcam directly. Thank God I still have a video to look at of myself, so I know that, I don't know, it just helps me stay in the center of it. Anyways, this picture, even though it's just like a painting of a bad cat, and it looks like half deleted, and there's a reason for this. This is actually the only, like, I don't know how you'd say it, like not paraphernalia, like thing from a show. Okay, so there's the show Motive. And what it was, I really like this show. It was Canadian, but it was like a detective, it was like a police procedural where it'd work you through a crime or whatever. And it had a female and a male, a detective working together. I didn't say it like that. I didn't say it because I thought it meant something. I just said that because I can't remember their names because just like real life, when I'm watching TV, I'm terrible with names. So anyways, I went to a set sale. That's like when a show gets canceled. They sell everything that they can from the show just to, one, get rid of it, two, make a little bucks on the side. And this picture was actually featured in one of the episodes. And, oh yeah, I was explaining how that show worked. So at the beginning of the show, they show who gets murdered, and then they show who murders them. And that's the intro, that's the cold open to the show. And then the whole episode is them working through the motive, hence the clever name, and why they killed them. And so when this episode was there, this kind of rotund, I guess I want to say, that'll come into effect when we're talking about Sydney Sweeney later. She gets murdered by this, I guess, hot-looking bookworm girl in the beginning. And what happened was this lady was buying pictures from farmers markets and stuff and flea markets and just wherever online. And then she was painting cats on them. So she bought this picture of this tree, and then she painted this orange cat in there. But it turns out this is like, I don't know if it was a Van Gogh or supposed to be some super famous painting. But she didn't know it was a cat, and then this lady bought it from her for like a couple $100, and then the lady who painted it was like, oh, she likes cats, that's why she's buying this. But the other lady, she was deleting the cat with like prestige methods. I don't know what I kept wanting to say motive. So she was like erasing the cat and going to sell this picture for, I don't know, $100,000. I can't remember what the name was. And then, oh no, wait, I totally got it wrong. So the rotund lady killed the bookish hot lady, and that's why, because the rotund lady who painted this found out that the other lady was going to make a whole bunch of money, and so she took the painting, she killed her, she took the painting back, and then this is the like part where the like hot lady who's good at deleting stuff off of things did, and then this is the part where the rotund lady did, and she was just like didn't know what she was doing, and she wrecked the painting. And then I saw this painting and I bought it, and I just love it because it's this super ugly cat, and there's this kind of like and it's like it's an episode of a show, and to me that's the story behind it. Like, I don't even know what the fuck this painting was, if they painted it for that, if they found it. I don't know the actual story of the actual painting. I just know the like make-believe story from the show. So anyways, that's that painting. I hope you enjoyed that tale. Oh, and also if you haven't figured it out or watched me do podcasts by myself before, I am not as good as Dave Smith or Candace Owens at this. I get a bit rambly, and sometimes I forget what I was talking about, but it should be okay. I'm also going to take breaks because I have to drink, otherwise my throat dries out, and I don't think you want like to listen to me drink, because I have misophonia, and that's where like it's like opposite ASMR. Like, ASMR noises just like make me angry and I hate them. So it's like when people are like have weird mouth noises, or they're eating loud, or they're doing stuff on the microphone of a podcast, like Conspiracy Social Club. It's this podcast, and one of the guys was eating Mike and Ike's one time, and I fucking lost my mind and almost drove into a ditch. But anyways, so when I need a drink of water, I pause it. I'm telling you that because there's probably going to be hard cuts, and I don't want you to think that I'm keeping the good stuff from you in any way. Not because Lex Fridman just got in trouble for that. This is just going to be a podcast talking about other podcasts who are better at podcasting than me. But Lex Fridman has this podcast, and he did, I think it was like, he did a debate with Scott Horton, who's a really good guy. If you don't know who he is, he's been on Tucker Carlson and Dave Smith a bunch, part of the Problem podcast. And he's basically like kind of a historian, political guy. And he wrote a book on called Provoked, on like the Ukraine war and stuff. And I think he was also just on Tucker Carlson. Oh no, I'm thinking of Daryl Cooper. But he's been on Tucker Carlson. He was just on there, but Daryl Cooper was on there talking about Epstein, but John Horton was talking about anything. But anyways, so I just forgot this guy's fucking name. Oh man, this is why I need Jeff to vamp when I just forget people's names. Lex Fridman. So anyways, Lex Fridman, he did a podcast with Scott Horton, and they recorded for like 5 hours, but he only released 4, and all these people got like a bug in their ass because of like, he deleted an hour, blah, blah, blah. And then he came back, he's like, look, I deleted an hour because we kind of got queenie with each other and just started bitching at each other. He didn't say that. He said like proper grown up, like mature words, but basically that's what it was. Like, they were doing a debate and they got queenie and sassy, and it just didn't make for good podcasting, so he deleted it. And he said in the future he wouldn't want to do that. But I get it. Like, if you've got 5 hours of podcast and you got to edit 5 hours, that's the hard part. Talking's the easy part. Like, even though it seems like sometimes I suck at talking and keeping it on track, that's actually the easiest part of podcasting. Which is funny because a lot of people have this, like, fear of speaking, public speaking. I don't know why I said it like that. They have a fear of public speaking, and podcasting, although you're not public speaking, you kind of have, like, keep it in your head that people are going to hear this, and you're not just recording this just because you want to sit in the corner of your own room and have a weird hobby. But so it's public speaking, but it's not public speaking because you're like kind of aware of the audience out there. and I don't really have like a fear of it. Another reason I like to stop when I'm recording by myself, I make it into chunks, because if anything happens with the program or my computer faults, I guess I have kind of a 10-year-old computer, so it doesn't have the most memory, so I don't want to like go record like 45 minutes of one video and then just lose it. So the way I do this is I record, like, usually I go from subject to subject, and then I'll just record 10 to 20 minutes at a time. And that way, if I lose 10 to 20 minutes, I could just go back and be like, all right, I'll just reshoot that. I'll do it again. Because I don't know if you've been with us since the beginning. The very first episode of this podcast was actually the second episode because Derek deleted it. Or he didn't delete it. It got back. It got deleted because that was 8 years ago. Oh, yeah, that was another thing. So what happened was... I thought I was done all the housekeeping on this podcast, but I'm not. So what happened was, even though Derek's not part of the podcast anymore, he just decided he didn't want to do it anymore. I guess he's got like a toddler and a kid who's, I think he's a teenager. I don't know. I don't want to be too specific, because I don't know how much comfortable people are talking about when other people talk about their kids online, but since we are very unprofessional, Derek still has all the access to all the back end stuff because he set it up 8 years ago. And it's just like, yeah, whatever, it works, let's do it. So he got a message saying that the first, I want to say 11 episodes of the podcast were going to be taken down off of Spotify for copyright infringement, because we were dumb when we started and we thought, hey, why don't we start this podcast called Outrage Factory with a song by Lagwagon called Angry Days. And I don't know if you know anything about music and copyright, but it's always the punkers who want their money, who want to get paid because they don't make as much as everybody else. So anyways, we got dinged with that. So what I did was, right now, if you go to look in the feed, they're not there. And when I get around to it, I'm going to go and I'm going to clip the Lagwagon song off and then, I don't know, upload them again. But the sound's so terrible, I kind of don't want to, but I kind of want to, just in case like people are completionists. There are a couple other episodes, like 3's missing. I don't know why it's not there, but that was 8 years ago. And then, yeah, so I was just like, I wanted to bring this up partly because I was like getting all esoteric about the podcast, being like, is this really worth my time? Is this making me famous? And it's not, but it is definitely worth my time, because still making a podcast where I get to say my opinions about shit and having other people listen, no matter how few or how many there are, it still makes me feel good. And all I ever wanted to do was talk about shit and have people listen. And if more people listen, that's more better. But if I only got a few strong fans out there, thank you for being there. And yeah, because I was like, should I stop doing this? Should I relaunch it? But for now, we're just, like, I was thinking about, like, relaunch it, like, not relaunching this or whatever, but just kind of, like, starting over. But then I would be like, I just would want to make the exact same thing. Why don't I? So I'm just going to keep doing this. And then if it changes, it changes. Like, that's the best. That I think, because the way I approach podcasting, this is just going to be a podcast about podcasting. So the way I reach it is kind of almost like, I just want to make a podcast that I would like to listen to. And that's why when I was like, I just want to explain what people are seeing because it would bug me. The problem with that is I don't like most podcasts because just stuff annoys me. And I'm a pretty fickle listener. So I understand if any of you are like, I'm out, cash out. Hey, more power to you. I like to do that. So I got to respect the fact that you want to do that. But what I want to do is I just want to like talk about stuff I think is interesting and make dick jokes about it, because I find it's hard to find both of those. Like, Flagrant's really good for talking about like good shit and making really funny jokes, and they're all super famous, and there's 5 of them, and they have a wicked podcast studio. And basically, if I was a billionaire, I'd just try to make that podcast, but I'm not. So this is what you're just getting a cat painting and a broken crib and me in my corner of my room. Yeah, so what I was saying, like the dick jokes and the interesting stuff. And basically it's like I'll see something and I'll be like, people should know my opinion on this. Not they don't have to know, otherwise, because they obviously could just skip the podcast. So, we're going to start with Jon Stewart. Now, he didn't do anything. Nobody's mad at Jon Stewart, but if you remember back in like 100,000 years ago when we were still in the depths of COVID, and he was the first like mainstream, I don't know if he was the first mainstream guy, but he was like, when Jon Stewart said that COVID came from a lab, it kind of made it okay for everybody else to start saying that it came from a lab, because he was just so big and popular, and he said it in like on the legacy media, so many people heard it, but like most people believed it. So it was kind of like, as soon as he said it, everybody was like, all right, we're ready, we've been wanting to say this for so long, so we're all just going to say it. And that happened again, and I don't know if it's just me putting two and two together, like correlation isn't causation, I know all that, like it might just be me tying them together. But Jon Stewart was on his show. I think it was his show. I just saw a clip online. That's the problem with clips, is you're like, you see the clip and then it's gone, and you're like, fuck, I probably should have like put down what that was from. So Jon Stewart was talking to this guy, and he was talking about what Israel's doing in Gaza, and he's like, as a Jewish person, I can't abide by this, and I'm disgusted that people are trying to make me be okay with this just because I'm Jewish. And so now that, and it's like, it kind of like a week and a half ago, people are like, enough, Israel, what you're doing in Gaza is fucked up. But now that Jon Stewart said it out loud, it's kind of like hitting a crescendo, and I'm starting to see it in my news feeds and everywhere about like what Israel is doing is wrong. And I'm not going to lie, I felt a little guilty, because I've felt the same way about how wrong I feel Israel is. Probably like I have like conspiracy theories or whatever, and I feel kind of guilty because I wasn't saying it, and I was like, I don't really want to say it because, one, it's a super bummer, and it totally bums out the podcast. Two, it's one of those things that you should know what the fuck you're talking about. Otherwise, people will like try to dismiss your view and then like kind of like say that it's only idiots saying that what Israel is doing is bad. But everybody's saying it now, so it's not like, it's not that it's I'm doing this because it's safe to say it now, but I am doing this now because it's safe to say it. But like, one of the things, I don't know, like, it's obviously I believe it's wrong. Like, I'm an anti-war guy. I don't believe in war. Like, that was the whole reason like I was behind Trump, which kind of blew up in my face. But when me and Jeff were talking about politics and I said I was for Trump, I was like, because he meant less war. And he did get a ceasefire in Israel, and then Netanyahu broke it because Netanyahu is a demon. Full stop. Netanyahu is a demon. That's basically the only answer to this. Like, the crazy thing was, he was going to get brought up on like corruption charges in Israel before all this kicked off, and it was like something like $200,000 or something crazy went missing or something. And then basically like what a lot of like the theorists and stuff were saying was that he kept this war going on purpose, because as soon as the war's over, then he has to answer for his corruption crimes. And then Trump was saying he was going to try get him pardoned for those corruption crimes. And I was kind of thinking that maybe Trump was just doing that so that Bibi Netanyahu would actually be willing to end the war instead of breaking the ceasefires and stuff. So, and the other reason I don't want to talk about Israel is it's so much to go through. But there is some things I wanted to say. I want everybody to know, if you don't know about what the Hannibal Directive is, you should learn about that. So that's basically, in the 80s, I think they came up with this. It's like Israel's like super dogmatic and basically run by as a theosophy country, like idealistic country, where half the population learns about, I'm not going to say the wrong name for their version of the Bible, but they learn about their secret books and then they study them, and that's what half the population does. And then the other half just like lives normally, and they're the guys who fight in the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force. And then the guys who study the Bible and stuff, they don't have to go because they're like scholars. So it's kind of like they get exempt because every citizen in Israel has to serve in the IDF. So anyways, I don't know why. Anyways, in the 80s, since they're so dogmatic and all this stuff, whenever a soldier falls, they have to like get the body back or they have to rescue them because it's just like this is one of the reasons I didn't want to talk about it, because there might be an actual law or paperwork on why they work so hard. I'm trying not to make dick jokes about this stuff, but like basically they're so horny to get their soldiers back alive or dead. So what happened was that since they have to give up so much to get them back, in the 80s they were making like these big trades for prisoners just to get their prisoners of war back. They came up with this thing called the Hannibal Directive. And what that is, if they see one of their soldiers, this is like an example, they see one of their soldiers getting taken as a hostage, they kill that soldier and the other guy so that they don't have to expend Israeli like stuff to get that guy back after he's caught. So on October 7th, I don't know why I paused that, a lot of people were saying that there was the Hannibal Directive where Israel, of the 1,200 people killed on that day, some of them could have actually been killed by Israel themselves, and we don't know that number. And it doesn't lessen the horrific things that Hamas did, but it kind of does, because if some people were shot by Israeli bullets on that day, does that affect how many people were okay with them killing in Gaza? Does that affect how long we're okay with them doing the siege on Gaza? And that's just something to think about. And another thing is, like, early on in the war, Israel, because basically the war is Israel bombs Palestine from afar because they don't have like the forces to go in and all this stuff. So one of the ways that they were figuring out who to bomb was they were using AI. And I think it was called Lavender AI, but it's weird because if you Google Lavender AI, it's just like an email writing program. So you know what it is? Like I've just heard Lavender AI off these political podcasts and stuff. And maybe it's hidden and they don't want you to know. But so one of the scary things is they figured out who to target from this AI. And it basically ran this program of which of the Palestinians had connections to Hamas or terrorist organizations. And then it like set them up in the targeting database. And then they ran this thing called Operation Where's Daddy or Operation Daddy's Home. One of those two. And basically what would happen was the targets that the AI picked, they would wait till nighttime because they knew that guy would be sleeping at home in his bed. So they'd shoot a missile into his apartment and kill his whole family. And if you're saying, Dale, that's disgusting. Yeah, that's disgusting. But the big fear for me is all of this shit is super horrendous and it's done by demons. And what if AI wasn't just picking the targets and deciding, hey, this would be a good time because I've worked my AI math and science to figure out when these guys are home, and then we blow them up? What if AI isn't just telling a soldier when to pull the trigger? What if AI is pulling the trigger? What if the reason Israel's attack on Gaza is so demonic and disgusting is because it's computers doing it? That would explain why there's no humanity in it. That would explain why they're shooting 2,000-pound bunker busters into refugee camps full of tents. That would explain why they're shooting hellfire missiles at aid convoys of World Kitchen, of cars. They're shooting they shot one, like a hellfire missile into one, came back, shot a hellfire missile into the third one, or the second one, and then they just shot one into the third one, and then they're like, whoops, we thought they were Hamas. So, yeah, and that would also explain how a country could starve another country. Like, basically, they're doing all these war crimes. Like, they're using starvation as a weapon. And that might actually also be one of the reasons why everybody's okay to talk about it, because the Palestinians are basically starving to death right now. Like, they've been starved the however long it takes for a person to, like, starve to death. So they're at that point. So now everybody's like, yo, what the fuck? We're watching people die on screen. And then, so yeah, like, another reason why I think it's kind of like AI is because it's kind of like, I mean, it's disgusting to say, but it's almost like video game logic. Like, if you're playing World of Warcraft or something and you're fighting a boss and he's got add-ons, which are little dudes that are not the main boss, but they're supplementary to him, you kill all those before you kill the main boss. So it's like, you look at Palestine and Gaza, and you look at the way Israel is attacking. They're like killing aid workers, they're killing journalists, and they're basically killing support people before they kill the enemy. So it's like, if you've got, like in World of Warcraft, you have a big bad guy and then he has people healing him, you kill the healers. And they're obviously doing that. Like, they're lighting up the people who are feeding Palestinians. They're killing the people who, like, they got caught bombing Red Crescent. Like, what happened was they went to a Red Crescent truck, they stopped it, they took the guys out, and then they executed them. And the reason that we know about this happening, and then they buried the ambulances and the people. And the reason we know about this is because one of the guys that they executed, his cell phone was in his pocket recording. And this is super tragic because like, a lot of people here in North America, we hear Red Crescent, and that doesn't really land with us. But Red Crescent is basically just the Red Cross, but in non-Christian countries, they have a moon symbol instead of a cross symbol, but it's the exact same organization. It's like a worldwide organization, the Red Cross and the Red Crescent. But it's non-Christian countries, they get a crescent instead of the cross. So basically, Israel is killing Red Cross workers. And that's disgusting. And another reason why I didn't ever really want to talk about Israel is because it's like they're trying to pass laws now where it's like saying, like, denouncing what Israel's doing to Gaza is anti-Semitic, which is ridiculous. Because it's like, I don't know. And it's also like, when you talk about stuff like this and you don't have your P's and Q's fucking on point, you just sound terrible. But, like, the whole thing that everybody, like, all these, like, people who've been speaking out against us, like, Breaking Points is a podcast that's been super good. That's basically where I got all my Israeli Gaza knowledge, is from Breaking Points. And one thing that they're saying is you should be able to, like, criticize the way one country is being run and what the politicians there are doing without them kind of treating like you're doing a hate crime against a religion. So it's like, Israel keeps saying that the reason they're killing all these people in Gaza is because Hamas is using human shields. It's basically like they're making the Gazan citizens stay there so that they can, like, hide behind them and stuff and get shot. But the whole bigger picture thing is the Israeli IDF is using the religion as a human shield. Like, it's the same thing. It's like, you can't verbally or go online and talk bad about the IDF or Israel or Netanyahu, because then he pulls up the, like, hate speech defense of, hey, you're being anti-Semitic. So, Sydney Sweeney has great genes. So, I guess if you haven't heard what's happened, Sydney Sweeney for American Eagle records this ad, and she's wearing a Canadian tuxedo, which is, I guess, cool and sexy now to wear denim pants with denim long sleeve shirt. But okay, I'm sure there's a lot of 60-year-old Canadians who are super pumped to hear that. But the whole campaign basically runs on the pun of jeans and jeans. Like she's like, jeans are passed down. The reason I'm talking like that is because in this ad she has a super fucking annoying vocal fry, which drives me almost as much as the sound of people eating loud. When chicks talking vocal fry, I fucking die inside. Anyways, this whole ad, she's like, genes are passed down from parents to, I guess, kids. And she's saying, I got great genes. I got blue eyes, blonde hair. And then she's like, my genes are blue. And then it's like the denim joke, right? Like her jeans are blue, blue jeans. We get it. And for me, when I saw this at first, I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, the fucking world tour of Everybody Wants to Fuck Sydney Sweeney continues. That's all we ever see. It's basically every time you see Sydney Sweeney on screen for the last couple of years, like when either if she's on in that Spider Woman movie, what was it? Madame Web, when she was like supposed to be the nerd character, but she's all horned up, and you're like, wait, what am I supposed to, like, is this grooming to make me a pedophile? She's supposed to be like 16 or 14 in this movie, but she's still like being super weird and moving weird. Well, like, I'm not comfortable with this. Why am I watching this? I honestly secretly think that's why everybody hated that movie, was because it just on a subconscious level, they're like, I don't like the way this fucking makes me feel. This girl's supposed to be young and she's acting all horny like, Anyways, whether it's in that movie or on Saturday Night Live, it's basically her whole thing is like, I have tits. Do you want to have sex with me? And yeah, a lot of us are like, yes, you're an attractive girl. In a perfect world where we talk and you don't speak in vocal fry and you are okay to hearing about conspiracy theories, I guess I could see a situation in which we have sex and maybe have a relationship, but not this one, because I'm happily partnered up with my girl and who listens to my conspiracy theories. She's not as receptive to my conspiracy theories as I would like, but she hasn't killed me in my sleep, so that means she's pretty receptive to them. So when I saw this ad, and it was Sydney Sweeney, and she's got her like eyes like she's half asleep, tired, and she's talking in the vocal fry, and she's got her cleavage out, and it shows her butt in jeans, which is like, I guess, leftover horny shit from the 80s and 90s. And I'm like, good, yeah, cool. Use Sydney, everybody wanting to have sex with Sydney Sweeney still to sell something else. I mean, we didn't all get our fill with Sasquatch soap using her bath water. And then I saw that and I was like, yeah, cool. Nice pun, guys. I'm not going to buy your jeans because I'm not... And it's funny because I was thinking about American Eagle and I was trying to think of like the best way to rip on them and what they represent. But I also kind of don't want to rip them too hard because my little brother had a very big American Eagle phase for a bit where his wife would like buy him American Eagle clothes and he would wear it. And it looked okay. But to me, American Eagle, like they're talking about it on Part of the Problem. And they said that it's like puka shell douche and like a polo shirt douche, which, I mean, yeah, popped collar puka shell douche is the best way to describe American Eagle. But that's also a 20-year-old reference, and I don't think everybody who listens to this. So if you get that reference, then good. Sydney Sweeney is trying to sell jeans to fucking puka shell pop collar douches who would definitely want to have sex with her, who are also white in the slander way. Like when you say, "Oh, you're so white," that's American Eagle, and then I guess the way I was thinking about it, I was like, because it's like beach douche, but it's not like ocean beach douche, because like even that has a little too much flavor for what American Eagle has. So I figured out it was like lake beach douche. So basically like the biggest douchebags you'd see on a beach on a lake that's not the ocean. Yeah, that was what I came up with. So anyways, This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, yeah, like this is like you go to American Eagle when Gap isn't douchey enough or Banana Republic is too expensive, so you go to American Eagle. And then everybody started saying, oh, she's talking about how hot she is, and she's using the word jeans. This is eugenics, Aryan nation, dog whistling. And I'm like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ, guys. Ah, Jesus. To me, I don't think this is Nazi bullshit, and I don't think this is Aryan dog whistling. I think this is just like what I said before, how Puka Shell Pop Collar Douche was 20 years old, so it's a reference not everybody would get. I also think that this pun that this ad is using is kind of an old reference that people don't get, because it used to be, you'd say, oh, she has blue hair and blonde eyes, or blonde eyes and... Fuck, I just said the same thing twice. She fucking has blue eyes and blonde hair. That used to mean something. And I'm not saying that was the only thing that could be hot because people don't like fucking visual minorities, blah, blah, blah. No, that was one of the reference. That was like, blondes or brunettes, what do you like? Ha, 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 ha. We're all... Anyways, it was basically like blonde hair, blue eyes. Used to be a reference for being attractive. We've gotten away from that because as globalism spread through the world and made us all poor, it also introduced us to different beauty standards. So now, instead of going and getting steak and potatoes, we go to the buffet and get fusion food from all around the world. But we don't want to talk too specifically about what from that buffet we like, because apparently that's also racist. If you say, hey, there's this type of woman from around the world, from this one specific country that doesn't look like me, and I like that, then it makes you kind of, hey, what are you fetishizing someone's race? That makes you a racist. So it's basically non-win, non-win. And another thing is, we're kind of on the pendulum swinging back from all the woke shit. Like, basically, there's a lot of people trying to use 2018 arguments on this, being like, oh, you just say she's attractive because she's white. And it's like, oh my God, guys, I thought we were fucking done with this. Man, it's like, other girls are like, oh, you're just body shaming fat girls. Okay, I didn't mean to say other girls are saying that. There's probably some fucking hard up dudes who are saying it too. So we're like, this is almost like getting a lot of fucking play and outrage online, because it's almost like a last Hail Mary of woke culture, because they're like, we can't have a white girl saying she's hot because of how the genes her parents passed on to her and made her hot. We can't just acknowledge that. We still have to like pretend that beauty standards aren't a thing that are built in everyone's subconscious, hardwired into their brain. Like, but, and another thing is, I don't think they are anymore. Like, there's a lot, like, remember when fat asses weren't a thing? In like I definitely remember. It was like right when Nicki Minaj started, or there's that song Bubble Butt that Tim and Eric did the video for. Like right, like when J-Lo was in mid popularity. I think like The Cell was before it. Like they were showing her butt and she was wearing underwear, and I was like, okay, why are you showing her butt like that? That's weird. Because North America used to be a boob town, man. That's all we cared about. We wanted boobs. And that was basically back when the time I was talking about Sydney Sweeney. Blonde hair, blue eyes, big boobs. That was the thing. And then globalists fucked us all economically. They fucking offshored all our jobs so we couldn't just work one job and be middle class and send our kids to college. They made everybody poor, but they brought in some other flavors. They brought in the South American flavor of the big booties from Brazil. And then it just made its way into our culture. And then rap music started having big booties in it. And then everybody started having big booties in it. And then now, you talk to any average white guy, and it's not like the 80s or 90s. Like, they didn't care about butts back then. Butts were flat. They wore high-waisted jeans, for fuck's sakes. And then, he's like, but now it's different. And I can't remember where I was going before I started ranting on this. Basically, times have changed. We don't all want a girl who looks like Sydney Sweeney with her fucking vocal fry and her half-closed eyes. We all want a little different spice on our steaks, I guess. Does that just make it sound like I'm talking about my dick again? Should I just pull the ripcord and abandon this before it gets too weird? Is it too weird now? Is it too late? Did I screw it up? Anyways, I'm going to leave it. So basically, to me, I get why people would say it's Aryan, because as soon as you say blonde hair, blue eyes, that was like the calling card of the Aryans. But she can't say blonde hair, blue eyes, big tits. And that's what it used to be. That used to be like the triple threat of like the 80s and 90s to what made a girl hot. But now when you say blonde hair, blue eyes, it just sounds like you're talking about a dude who wants to be like, I'm the master racer, blah, blah, blah. So I get why people are saying that, but I also think you're giving fucking American Eagle people who are like directing advertising, I think you're giving them way too much credit. And this is hard for me to say because I'm a conspiracy theorist. So anytime there's like people who are conspiring, like, yeah, okay. I think that's like, could I see a group, a cabal of white supremacists approach American Eagle and be like, hey, you're basically known for selling clothes to white douchebags. Can you put in a little dog whistle so that we can sell more clothes to white douchebags? Like, I could see how that happened. But to me, this just cries the whole okay is white power thing. Like, it feels like they're reading into something that's not there. But this is a little different because it could be there. They are the things. But I just don't think American Eagle's that on top of their game or fucking subversive. I don't think they have it in them. Like, but could this whole be like the satanic thing in music where it's like, it's not American Eagle wants to put in racist dog whistles, it's just the company that's in charge of the stylist or the videographers, like whoever they got to shoot and direct the video, whoever the parent company of that is, could be like, okay, here's where the conspiracy could be. I'm laying it out for you. I don't think it's true, but if you want to go with this fucking, it's an Aryan dog whistle, here's some fucking steak for your gullet. What could be is like American Eagle says, hey, let's do a new ad with Sydney Sweeney. And then someone gets in their ear and they're like, you know what fucking people love more than anything? Dumb puns. Jeans. It's right there. I can't believe we've had fucking denim jeans for fucking 100 years and nobody's thought of this, but we got it right there. And then they're like, and then American Eagle's like, fuck, we're up for it. We're not above selling sex to fucking puka shell pop collar douchebags. Hey, they fucking love this shit. And then the company who got in their ear could have been like some like big marketing, advertising, modeling, big conglomerate. They're like a one-stop shop. Like, hey, you want to shoot an ad? Just give us like, so basically what would be, in my theory, I don't know who shot this or all the stuff behind the scenes, but this, in my theory, this is what happens. So American Eagle says, we like Sydney Sweeney. She has that fucking vocal fry that makes Dale want to drive off the road, but she also has her eyes that she's always looks like she's sleepy, which I guess means bedroom eyes. Like, she's like, hey, I'm so tired. You want to take me to bed so I can go to sleep? But other guys are like, hey, bed? You know what else happens in bed besides sleep? That fun stuff we want to do to Sydney Sweeney, so we're going to buy her chains. So anyways, American Eagle picks Sydney Sweeney. They approach this one-stop shop that does everything. That one-stop shop is ran by people who I guess, don't have enough racists or Aryans or stuff. So they're like, we got a coming race war, which is a threat that they've had since like Manson killed people in fucking California in the 60s or 70s, whatever it was. So this one-stop company has like art directors that are at the top, and the art directors tell people below them what to do. So if you have this like Nazi Aryan person in this corporation that's running everything, and it's an up high person, they're like, okay, talk about genes, talk about how they're passed on from father and mother to child, then say blonde hair, blue eyes. Oh yeah, I kind of wanted to hit back on the whole Epstein thing. Not that I'm gonna get too verbose or talk about this too much, because I kind of feel like last episode I did say a bunch of stuff. But after we recorded and I said my whole spiel about how my conspiracy theory about how the Epstein Files held 6 more contra conspiracy fucking thingamajiggers, Dan Bongino posted a tweet which doesn't exactly back me up on my conspiracy theory, but since I'm willing to pull at threads and stretch things for confirmation bias, I'm going to do that. I'm going to read you his tweet, and we're going to see what you think, and you can decide on your own. So yeah, just to basically recap what I was saying, my whole thing is, I think the Epstein Files got spiked and Trump didn't want to show them, not because he's in them, because everything Trump is, I just don't get kid diddler vibes. I don't get go to an island and have sex with girls, and I don't know why, because if he did, it would make so much sense, because he did own Miss America and Miss Universe for a while. He did host Elite. There's this company, this modeling company in the 90s. He hosted 2 elite modeling parties on his boat or his yacht. And they're like 17, 16-year-old girls. And like he was like at a party. And there's a bunch of other dudes that were on that yacht with him who turned out to be the type of people who like to do more than just party with those girls. If you know what I'm saying. I can't remember the guy's name specifically because I didn't research. I read that a week ago and I wasn't going to talk about it, and then it just came up. So anyways, I don't think Trump is that type. I think Trump is the type to notice which 17 and 16-year-old girls are hot from elite modeling, and then in a couple years' time marry them, because that's where he met Melania. Anyways, I think the reason that Trump spiked the Epstein Files is not because of the girl thing, not because of the whole Epstein's a pedo thing. I think it was the arms dealing and the buying stuff, and basically, like, I don't want to go rehash everything, because if you listened to last episode, you're like, fuck Dale, we already heard this, we don't want to hear it again. But for those of you who didn't listen to last episode, I'm just going to say Iran-Contra was this thing, I think in the 80s, where the states wanted to sell weapons to some rebels in Iran, and they couldn't because they had all these like laws and stuff, so they sold them to Israel, who then sold them to Iran. And fucking Epstein, if you watch the Tucker Carlson where Daryl Cooper talks about Epstein, he mentions all this stuff because Epstein was involved with the people who were involved in the Iran-Contra thing. He never got pegged for it or whatever, but Epstein, besides flying people to his gross island, was also big into arms dealing. So I think that the reason Trump doesn't want the Epstein Files to come out is because, like I said before, there's like the equivalent of 6 more Iran-Contra things in there. Like what happened in Yemen, like when Obama was bombing Yemen, and all that other stuff, and all those other Middle East wars and all the stuff that happened before, like basically everything since Iran-Contra that like people saw and was like fucked up, like all the and also all the like fucking opium shit from Afghanistan and all that stuff. So anyways, basically I think because Trump would be able to distance himself from the whole kid stuff thing, because all the like sexual assault allegations that Trump has ever had laid against him have always been from adults. I mean, it's kind of fucked up to say, but at least there's that. Anyways, this is Dan Bongino's tweet. During my tenure here as the Deputy Director of the FBI, I have repeatedly relayed to you that things are happening that might not be immediately visible, but they are happening. Okay, I guess just trust him. Trust me, bro. That's what his whole thing was like. If I saw something that I thought, don't you think I would tell you? Like what he said on what him and Kash Patel, what they said on like all the podcasts that they're doing the tour. Okay, back to the tweet. The director and I committed to stamping out public corruption and the political weaponization of both law enforcement and intelligence operations. It is a priority for us, but what I have learned in the course of our properly predicted and necessary investigations into these properly predicated and necessary investigations into these aforementioned matters has shocked me down to my core. We cannot run a republic like this. I'll never be the same after learning what I've learned. So, this is all very vague, so I'm just going to take it to reinforce my previously conceived ideas. But this could also be like shit like the whole NSA recording everything. Oh, also, I've never brought that up on this podcast. Remember when fucking WikiLeaks published that the NSA was recording every single email and telephone call we place, and most of us were like, who gives a fuck? Who's going to read all my emails? Nobody's going to sit down. They'll be too bored because I don't have an exciting life. Well, turns out they made this thing called fucking AI that can go through all those things for them. So they don't have to go through it. So now, if they want to set you up, like they want to get rid of you because you talked about Israel too much like I did on this podcast for 20 minutes, they can just set the AI to go back through your email and be like, hey, look for anything weird, and also dump some kiddie porn in there so we can just fucking throw them in jail forever. That also might be in the Epstein Files. They might, because the CIA, if the Church Committee has taught us anything, I guess I got to give you a little heads up. The Church Committee was in 1973, 75, one of those two, where this guy named Church was like, dude, we got to see what the fuck the CIA's doing. And then, so the the Church Committee, led by a guy named Church. Sorry, I didn't look up his specific name because I didn't research it and take notes because I'm already bad enough at reading out loud. But what happened was, they went through and they were looking at what the CIA did, and the CIA got wind of it, and they're like, Jesus fucking Christ, burn everything, burn all the records. We don't need these people to know. But what happened was, coincidentally, they didn't burn their financial records. They were just like, everything that says like CIA agent A did this to this person and blah, blah, blah. So they missed what the CIA had paid for, and that's the only reason we know about MKUltra, was because they found all these receipts about them spending money on like, it didn't say like CIA spends money for MKUltra. They spent money on like that place. If you go to the Dale Show, we talked about it, where like there was this guy in Canada, in Ontario, doing this thing called psychic driving, where he would like give people a whole bunch of drugs and basically wipe their brain and then like play nice music while they're like in a medically induced coma and kind of like try to remake their brain nice and happy. And he called it psychic driving. So anyways, they found receipts for stuff like that, and then they're like, they all started like drawing that, getting that red yarn. I don't know why I said red wine, but they get twine, that's what I meant, the red twine. They started getting that all out and connecting it all. So maybe the fucking What was I? Why did I start talking about? Oh shit, guys, I'm sorry. I was talking about money, the NSA thing. Anyways, maybe I'm sorry. I'm gonna listen back to this and be like, ah, fuck, I'm so dumb. But anyways, maybe the NSA thing is like part of like what they're. Oh, and then like it could. Oh, that was what I was saying. Maybe the Epstein Files has a financial record of some of the bullshit that was done, like some of the secret stuff, like on the DL, like how Tulsi Gabbard had like fucking all of her shit tapped and stuff, or how they got Tucker Carlson's Signal account and got all his tweets from that. Like maybe the Epstein file had a little bit of that stuff in there, and maybe that's why Dan Bongino is like, we can't run a republic like this. Because one, Dale's going to have to go and learn what a republic means instead of a regular country, because I don't have the other person here with me. It used to be Derek, and then it turned into Jeff, who explains stuff like that to me. Okay, back to the tweet. We are going to conduct these righteous and proper investigations by the book and in accordance with the law. We are going to get the answers we all deserve. It's all in all caps. As with any investigation, I cannot predict where it will land, but I can promise you an honest and dignified effort at truth. Not my truth or your truth, but the truth. God bless America and all those who defend her. Respectively, Dan. First of all, God bless her and defend her. How do we live in a patriarchy when our country's a girl? Checkmate, feminists. Just kidding. I just had to throw that in there to be petty and totally derail what I was thinking. Yeah, so my whole thing about this is, since I'm just interpreting this through a Dale lens and how Dale wants it to look, I think maybe he's talking about not kid touching shit, and that he saw a little peek behind the curtain, and he saw that the Wizard of Oz is just some old small dude who fucking lied on his taxes. And also there's a weird thing where it's like sorry, I was gonna pause in between drinks, but that one was just, reading makes me really thirsty. Ladies, I would read more books, but then I would get water weight. I can't remember what I was talking about. Fuck! I did it again! Shit! I was totally going to say something totally smart, too. That's why I took a drink of water, because it's like before every poignant thought you make, you got to drink water. But anyways, yeah. I think the Epstein Files, I don't even know if they're like the Epstein Files, but I think there's like shit in there. And that's probably why the fucking DOJ went to talk to Ghislaine Maxwell. Not to get like who fucked who, but to get like, yo, who the fuck was Epstein selling guns to? And as a throwback to the whole Israel is run by demons thing, there's a little part of me that hopefully is looking for Trump, that Trump is looking to get ammo on Netanyahu to force him to stop blowing up women and children. But that's me, ever the optimist. Yeah, I think I'm going to end the podcast. Oh! How could I not bring up Trudeau and Katy Perry went on a date? My boy, the hairdo, out there getting some. His marriage fell apart. He stepped down from... It's so bad because it's like, you know, his marriage fell apart because he was investing too much of his time and energy into politics. And then she was like, it's either politics or me, Trudeau. And he was like, I pick politics. My country needs me. And then he steps down anyway, like, what, a year and a half after he gets divorced? Or was it 2 years? Time doesn't work since COVID. So I'm sorry. Whatever amount of time it was after they got divorced, he doesn't end up being the political leader anyway. So he's just old fucking sad boy Trudeau. He's like, oh, I had a family. I mean, he still has his family. He's just not married anymore. And then he's like, I could take an international pop star sensation, Katy Perry, to the most prestigious restaurant in Montreal. And you know what? You know what chicks are impressed by? Fancy food and French shit. Boom. Trudeau hits them both. Fancy restaurant in Montreal. Who gonna say no to that? Who gonna say no to that? So I made a meme. You know those old fuck Trudeau signs? If you're listening to this, sorry. I mean, just go look on Twitter. I posted the meme. I will post it with the Outrage Factory account too. But I posted like the old fuck Trudeau sticker or whatever sign. What has a Canadian maple leaf instead of the U. And then Katy Perry making a sexy face. Like, the meme means like, fuck Trudeau, and Katy Perry's like, maybe. So yeah. I mean, there's, like, people are, I don't know why people are mad. I guess they still hate Trudeau. Some people hate Katy Perry. I mean, the only reason I hate Katy Perry is she's not as smart as you want her to be, and she doesn't talk about philosophy in her music, but she fucking made an alien song with Kanye West like a decade ago about fucking aliens. What do you expect? Like, she made a song set that, like, got her to say, show me your cock, but she said peacock. I want to see your peacock. Like, this is the girl you're upset isn't smart enough or wise enough? I mean, maybe listen to noodly post prog rock if you want smart music and not international pop sensation Katy Perry. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I talked about everything I wanted to. I was going to talk about Candace Owens getting sued by Brigitte Macron, but that's probably another fucking 20 minutes of me ranting. But if you want to know what's on, just Google that. It is a fucking rabbit hole that I recommend going down. Just listen to, Candace Owens did. I'm big into Candace Owens lately. I just, found her. For some reason, right-wing podcasters are annoying because they're always like, oh, God is good and all this stuff, and they're all like, don't do abortions and stuff, but they're always true to their word. They always say how they feel, which, throw back to when I was saying, I want to make a podcast that I want to listen to. I always want to be my true self. I want to be Dale the Rooter, front to back. If you listen to anything I say on here, I want you to be like, yeah, if I was hanging out with Dale, he would say that in real life. I don't want to be, mostly because it takes too much effort and I can't remember what I said when I lied, so I always get found out anyways. But I don't have the energy to do a persona. And the thing is, I feel like Candace Owens, good or bad, if you like her or hate her, I feel like what you see on the podcast is who Candace Owens is. Same with Tucker Carlson, same with Joe Rogan. And they're old people, so their beliefs are getting more conservative. So, anyways, I've been listening to a lot of Tucker Carlson and a lot of Candace Owens. And also, there's fucking delicious conspiracy shit in there. Candace Owens starts talking about how Brigitte Macron is a dude. You want to talk conspiracies? That's a conspiracy. Anyways, she released this 5-part series called Becoming Bridget. I didn't watch that, but I did watch the show, the podcast. I listened to the podcast where she talked about how they sent her cease and desist letters and how fucking Macron asked Trump if he could talk to Candace Owens and ask her to quit. And now Brigitte Macron is suing Candace Owens for, it's not defamation, it's cyberbullying or something. I don't know. Candace Owens goes through it a lot, and I highly recommend it. But that said, I do not condone her interviewing and defending Harvey Weinstein because that dude is gross. And I don't care if there's a legal loophole that he gets to fucking go do a retrial because one of the girls was lying. He's still fucking gross. And I don't respect that. But I do have to. I guess you got to just eat a pile of shit every once in a while if you're listening to these right-wing people. But no, what I mean is, She believes in what she believes in, and she sticks to her guns. I'm not going to agree with her on everything. Like Harvey Weinstein is gross. I just want to keep saying gross like that forever. And yeah, Tucker Carlson's laugh is super annoying, but I fucking love everything he talks about, and his guests are super good. And yeah, so I mean, if you can handle eating a big pile of shit once in a while, obviously you can. You're here. Thanks for sticking it out. That's it. That's the end. Until next time, stay angry.